afternoon, Silverwood, and to everybody there in Singapore who's watching. This Friday, it's going to be a weekend, a long weekend for us here in the Philippines. Long because it's Labor Day celebrations today, starting today, of course, May 1. But, well, we would just like to greet everybody who's, toiling themselves for the sake of other people. Thank you so much, and we are so grateful for the services that you have given to all of the Filipinos and to the Filipinos abroad who are giving as well their services to the other countries there and to the other nationalities there. We greet you. A wonderful afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, as we would like to say in Filipino. So I would just like to ask you right now, because I have this very, very interesting story to tell. It's not much though, but I hope you will get something out of it, because it's really, well, I would just like something to just make light of what's happening right now. A little humor would really go a long, long way. So that's where my story is geared towards. It's a bit of a funny story. I hope you'll find it funny, because I really did when I was reading it. Now this story is it's a piece done by Miss Filomena Colendrino, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's her author's name, Miss Filomena Colendrino. But I tried to come up with my own retelling of her story. And my story, well, before I go into that, I would just like to ask you, have you ever wondered why most women are doing the dishes or washing the dishes? Did it ever cross your mind? If you're a woman, have you ever wondered why are we doing the dishes? Or if you were a man, have you ever wondered why the women in your lives, like your mother perhaps or your sister, why are they doing the dishes most of the time? Well, in the Philippines, we have come up with an interesting story as to why women, wash the dishes. So here's the story now. Now, this story happened in a place called Santa Rosa. In our story, there was a couple whose name is Imelda and Hugo. Now, Imelda, as she was called by her friends, and Hugo, well, as he was also being called by their friends, they had their nicknames in their own community. They had their what you call the palayaw, or the nicknames. They were called Kamaldang for Imelda, and Hugo was called Kaugong. Now, these two, this couple, they would always fight as to who would wash the dishes after each meal. Now, one time, Hugo was telling Imelda, "I will not wash the dishes." But when Imelda asked why, and may I ask why you won't be doing the dishes, Hugo? Well, Hugo just said, "I just don't wash the dishes." And because of that, well, Imelda got her coconut broom and she raced around the whole house trying to beat Hugo up for not washing the dishes. Now, the neighbors would always see them fighting over and over again as to who would be washing the dishes. That's right. Now, one day, while they were eating lunch, Hugo just snorted back at Imelda and he said, "This time around, I will never wash the dishes," said Hugo. And he said that with his chest out and with his chin slightly tilted upwards, as he was saying, "I will never wash the dishes again," said Hugo. But Imelda was not to be beaten by whatever Hugo was saying. So she then looked at Hugo with a very sharp look, and she said, with her chin slightly higher than Hugo, and she said, And why is that so? Said Imelda. Now Hugo just said, I had been toiling myself so much in the fields this morning, and I do not need to wash the dishes anymore. Not ever, said Hugo. And Imelda said, wait, I will not tolerate that, because you know for a fact that I have not been sitting down here in the house, because I had been, cooking, I had been cleaning house, I had been washing the clothes, I had been ironing the clothes, and name it, I have done it, said Imelda. Now Hugo then said, so I will still not wash the dishes. Now Imelda, well, she had her sturdy broom to race around with that broom around the house and, trying to catch Hugo and trying to, as much as she can, she would try to catch Hugo and beat him up. But before she could raise her broom, Hugo then said, wait. Let me just have a wager. Just for us to find out who will finally wash the dishes for good. And Imelda then said, don't you dare wager me on that. But Hugo said, I will. So Imelda then said, you will not. But Hugo said, you just wait and listen to what I have to say. Now Hugo then said to Imelda, this is what I am going to do. And maybe, just maybe, if you will lose, you will never say no for washing the dishes again. And Imelda then said, okay, come up with that wager again, and let me see and let me hear that. So Hugo then said, okay, here it is. I will wager that if any of us will open his or her mouth first after I say the word begin, the one who utters a word will be the one to wash the dishes for good. Now when Imelda heard that, she said, okay, I'm good with that, Hugo. I'm good with that. So, finally, the two did just that. They tried to wager, and they tried to put on their bets on the wager, one for each of them, and Hugo finally said, okay, now, this time, I'm going to say the word begin, and again, not a word from you, or not a word from me, or if we do say a word, whether it's to each of us, to each of us, or to somebody else around, then we will fail and we will wash the dishes. Is that clear? And Imelda said, yes. And Hugo said, yes. Then so be it. Now, the wager begins. When Hugo finally said that, each of them sat on their own areas, in that long table, and not a single one said a word. They kept their lips close together, looking at each side, looking at each other, and they saw that the cat was now cleaning the plates up, for the cat wasn't able to get their food from each of them. So he started, chewing on what was left on the plates, eating it up, and finally the cat said, probably to himself,
meow, what's wrong with these two? How come they're not feeding me? Meow. I guess they're not going to feed me at all. Meow. So, I might as well clean up the plates. Meow. And I might as well, clean up the pots and the pans too. Meow, meow, meow.
So that was what just the cat did. He cleaned up the plates and he cleaned up the pots and the pans. And Hugo and Maldang, they did just that. Stared at each other And they stared and they stared and they stared and they stared. And they never uttered a word. Then finally, they heard somebody from outside knocking at the door. It was a neighbor. It was their compadre. Now their compadre knocked to their door. Compadre Hugo! Compadre Hugo! Are you there? Comadre Maldang! Comadre Maldang! Are you there? I would just like to borrow your axe because I am needing that to just cut a few pieces of wood. Now, can I borrow your axe? Now, when they heard that, they couldn't say yes or no. They were just frozen from where they were seated. They just kept their lips together, mouth shut, eyes staring at one another, and just hoping that their compadre would just leave them in peace. But the compadre was very, very persistent. And he noticed that the door of Compadre Ugong and Comadre Maldang's place was a bit open. So he entered, and lo and behold, he saw the two of them seated on their dining tables, on the dining areas, and they were just staring at each other. And he approached them and he said, Compadre Ugong, what has happened? How come you're not talking? How come you're not speaking up? Well, Compadre Ugong or Hugo could not speak up, for if he would do so, he would lose in the wager with Kamaldang or Imelda. Now, the neighbor shook Hugo and he said, Compadre Hugo, what's with you? Oh, please speak up. What has happened to you? But Ugong could not speak up. No, not at all, for he might lose. Now, the same thing happened with Kamaldang or Imelda. The neighbor again went to Imelda's place and he said, Kamaldang, oh, Imelda, Comadre Imelda, what is wrong with you? What's wrong? What in the world has befallen on you? Said the neighbor. Now, Kamaldang or Imelda would not even speak up, for fear that she would also lose in the wager. Now, both were so firm on not to speak up, probably puckering their lips more. Now the neighbor, when he saw that both Maldang and both Hugo would not be speaking up, he then ran outside to the other neighbors and calling out the albulario or the herb man, and calling the herb man and saying, please, something is wrong with Kahugong. Something is wrong with Kahugong and Kamaldang. They're not both speaking up. Their eyes are just open and their lips are so tightly closed. And they just look at me and stare at me as if something has befallen upon them. Probably they are bewitched, said the neighbor. Now when the albulario or the herdman heard that, he said, is that so? Maybe we should go to them and maybe we should see what we can do to help Imelda and Hugo. Now together with the other neighbors, they went to the house of Imelda and Hugo, and they said, oh my God, what has happened to them? They truly must be bewitched. And then the herdman, well, he thought of a plan. He said, let me think. I think I have something to help them. I will get some ingredients, probably to remove the spirits, to loosen the spirits that are inside of them. And so he did just that. He got some ingredients like, the betel nut, and he also got some lime leaf, and he got some betel nut leaf rather, and he got some how would you say that? Areca nut. The areca nut and the betel leaf and the lime from the bottle. And so he did just that. 9 leaves and 9 concoctions of that. He pounded on that. He pounded and he pounded and he placed it in his mouth and he chewed it. And he spit it out on his palm. And he got some of it with his finger. And he placed some on Hugo. Now when he placed on Hugo's forehead, well, Hugo did not mind at all. He just kept quiet and, casually waited for what the albulario or the herb man was doing. And so the herb man said, that will loosen up Hugo. That will loosen up Hugo on the spirits that are in you. But when the herb man went to Kamaldang or Imelda and placed the same concoction on her forehead, Imelda, instantly grabbed the finger of the herb man and tried to do something with it, preventing it from placing on her forehead. And the herb man could only say, "Aray! Aray!" The spirits are so bad, and the spirits are so angry with whatever spirits are there in Imelda. Now, Hugo, well, he became so tired after waiting and waiting for Imelda to speak up. So what he did was, he just leaned back and he just rested, closing his eyes. Now Imelda, on the other hand, did the same thing. She was also very tired, and she leaned her head on the bamboo wall, and she started as well to rest, closing her eyes as well. Now when the herb man and the neighbors saw that the two were, so tired and rested, they said to themselves, maybe the spirits are about to go out. Maybe the spirits would like to leave them now. But later on they saw that Hugo was still closing his eyes and resting. The same with Imelda. She was closing her eyes and resting. And the herb man, when he saw the two resting, he then said, maybe the spirits are about to take Hugo and Imelda with them. I guess for everybody's sake here, we must do something fast. All the men in the community, you have to build coffins for Hugo and Imelda, because we cannot do anything anymore. I guess the best thing that we could do is that we have to bury them, and we have to bury them with the spirits, so that not one of us will be bewitched by the spirits that had bewitched Hugo and Imelda. So that was what the men did. Immediately they rushed and they did, just that, making makeshift coffins for Hugo and Imelda. Now when they came back with 2 coffins with them, they then said, what are we going to do, herb man? What are we going to do? Are we going to put them already in the coffins? And the herb man answered, yes. First we must put Hugo in the coffin, and before sunrise we must make sure that we are going to just bury both of them and make sure that they will not make anybody be bewitched. So that is what the men just did. Slowly they lifted Hugo up, but Hugo was not really, asleep. He was just closing his eyes, resting, and waiting for Imelda to say a word. Now, when they lifted Hugo up and placed him in a coffin, Hugo then said to himself, this is better. Now I can stretch and I can just lie down and wait for Imelda to say the first word. And when she says that, she will surely wash the dishes for good. So Hugo just did that. lying down in the coffin, calmly waiting to be buried. But when it was Imelda's turn, the herbman then said to the men, "So, I guess we have to do the same thing with Imelda or Maldang. So we have to carry her and bring her body and place it inside the coffin." So they did just that. The moment they had their hands on Imelda, she tried to struggle as much as she can, but she couldn't say a word. She just struggled and she just said, and the herbman, when he saw what Imelda's reaction was, he then said, "Oh, the spirits in this woman is really, really, really that, angry and rotten, and they just want to fight." And because of that, when they did that, when they did that, they saw that Imelda was about to say something. But before she could say that, Hugo then said, "I guess I can hear her now. But before that, I'm okay being inside the coffin, because surely if I get buried, I could just try to, get out of the coffin and release myself from the ground. And wouldn't that be a surprise for all my neighbors seeing me rise from the dead and, being alive? That would be something," said Hugo. Now, going back to Imelda, when Imelda's turn was about to be, she was about to be lifted up, she fought as much as she can. And, she then said, much as she wouldn't wanted to say anything, she then said, "No! Don't put me inside the coffin! No, 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 no! You get out of my house, all of you, get out of my house! We are not dead, we are just having a wager, we are just finding out who would be the first one to talk, and who would be the one to wash the dishes, and who would be the first to talk. It's me. I'm the one who first talked." And Hugo, when he heard that it was Imelda who first uttered the word, he then said, "Yay! You see, I won the wager. Oh, Imelda's gonna wash the dishes forever. Yes, 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 yes. It's Imelda who will wash the dishes for good." And before, everybody could say any word, Imelda got her broom, and with the same broom, she ran after Hugo, and Hugo ran as fast as he can, as far away from Imelda, who really didn't want to wash the dishes. And that's the story of why women wash the dishes. Well, a story which is originally written by Filomena Colendrino, and, well, a retelling by yours truly, for all of you, to just have a humorous afternoon on the story entitled "Why Women Wash the Dishes." So I hope, if you do your dishes tonight, you would probably now have the answer as to why mostly women wash the dishes. So that's the story that we had this afternoon. But before we end our story, I would just like to bring to your attention these words. These words that I've said. Okay. Okay, here we are. have these words with me. Okay, I hope you can see it. Can you clearly read it? The first word is compadre. Yes, that's right. Can you say it again with me? Compadre. That's good. The second word is comadre. Comadre. That's right. The third word is arbolario. Arbolario. Or sometimes you say albolario. Sometimes it's an L or an R. Okay? Albolario. That's right. And the last word is aray. That's right, aray. Good. Now, these two words, compadre and comadre, well, they're actually Spanish in origin. Okay? Can you focus on the words, please? Just focus on the words. They're actually Spanish in origin, and they are the words that would mean, they are actually closer than a friend. These words are, when you call somebody compadre or comadre, you are actually referring to them closer than a friend. And it literally means co-parent or the godparent of your child. So this is the godfather and the godmother of your child. That's why you can say compadre and comadre. There, these two words. Now, let's look at this third word. You say albolario. That's right. You say albolario. When you say albolario, that means you're referring to the herb man. The herb man, that's right. Somebody, or like a shaman, somebody who comes up with concoctions or herbs, to treat you. That's why you call him an herb man or albolario. Now the fourth word, well, you say, now, how do you use the word aray? Okay, look at me now. The word aray would mean like this. When you hit somebody, okay, like let's, for example, my arm got bumped. And you say, aray! That's your reaction when you say aray. It's actually, the English word for it is ouch. Okay? Aray! In Japanese, you say, itai, itai. That's right. Now, that's how you say, that's how you say rather ouch in Filipino. Aray! Okay? So these are the words that we have learned this afternoon. Again, compadre or comadre, which are actually Spanish words in origin, and you would use this, to call somebody more than a friend who's actually a co-parent or a godparent of your child, godfather and a godmother. And when you say albolario, that's how you address somebody who is an herb man or a shaman. Now, when you say ouch again, how do you say that? Aray. That's right. Very good. So I guess we had a wonderful afternoon again with our story entitled Why Women Wash the Dishes, or perhaps answering your question, why is mostly women who are washing the dishes? So there you go. That's a Filipino story, a Filipino side of it, answering the question, why women wash the dishes, in the story of this couple, whose names are Ka Maldang or Imelda and Ka Ugong or Hugo. Okay? And this story again, well, it's a retelling by yours truly from the original story written by Filomena Colendrino. Now before I go, I would just probably like to, Oh, by the way, I would just like to say hi to everybody who's watching right now. I guess I have some friends who are watching, not just some friends who are watching. I don't know, some of them in Singapore are in Singapore still right now. But one particular friend who's really a good friend of the family, Dr. Yin Mi Chi. Hello, Dr. Yin Mi. It's nice to know that you're watching. And also I would like to thank Moses again Moses, for for doing all of these for everybody there in Singapore, for the elderlies and for the for the young and for the young at heart. And also, I'd like to thank also some people like Rosemary. I hope you're watching too, and I hope Sheila's watching too, and probably like right, Roger. I'd like to greet Roger Jenkins. How are you? Said everybody there in Singapore is watching. But before that, I would just probably like to sing, since it's May, right? It's May 1st. And for everybody who had been celebrating their birthdays since the start of the lockdown, from March to April, probably until May, well, here's just a special song for everybody. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Well, it's not much, but that's my way of saying and greeting to everybody who's watching there. I hope you still have, a wonderful outlook despite the uncertain times ahead. But still, we all have each other. We are not far apart. We're only a click away. I'm only a click away. If you need a friend to talk to or to chat, just get in touch with me. My Facebook name is Mary Melody Remorca. And, you can find me here as well in all of the sessions that I've done for Silver Good. And I will be doing this for Silver Good and for everybody who would still love to hear and listen to my stories. Again, once more, here is, and again, a birthday song for each of you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. So, again, on behalf of my family, my husband and my kids, I would just like to greet everybody who's celebrating their birthday the past weeks and the weeks ahead. Happy birthday. The Lord's blessings be upon all of us, and make sure that you hang on there as we will do the same here in the Philippines. Once more, bye, and have a wonderful weekend ahead.